Nothing makes a good talk show experience like an actor talking about doing their own stunts. Since the Marvel Cinematic Universe is chock full of stunts, they're also chock full of stars doing their own stunts, just like these. One of the most anticipated parts of Spider-Man No Way Home, aside from the world's worst-kept secret, was the return of Willem Defoe as Spider-Man's signature foe, the Green Goblin. Defoe brought a maniacal glee to playing the mad scientist hopped up on Goblin formula. Defoe was down to return for the role that launched 1,000 memes, but he had some very Defoe-like demands. First, naturally, he didn't want to be in the order of a winking cameo, but rather a substantial role in the story. There's a big check on that box. The other was that he wanted to do his own stunts. This wasn't an act of bravado on the veteran actor's part, but rather that he felt developing the way the Green Goblin moves while trying to menace the meddlesome Spider-Man was a key part of the development of his character. Plus, a chance to ride the Goblin Glider? Come on, who wouldn't do it? To make movement easier, the armor suit was lightened up, allowing Defoe to perform about 90% of his own stunts. And that evil grin he makes after taking spider punch after spider punch will haunt me for years. The supporting cast for the superhero life doesn't always get in on all the fun. The best they tend to manage is to end up in harm's way or having to cover for Spider-Man's identity by telling Betty Brant that it's really Night Monkey out there fighting the giant lava monster. But for the finale of the Home series, one of the most prominent themes was how much Peter Parker's moonlighting gig as a superhero affects those around him, whether he can accept that or not. That also means that Zendaya's MJ as well as Jacob Batalon's Ned Leeds got a chance to get in on the death-defying action. Zendaya was happy to finally get a chance to wire up and then fall from great heights like her superhero co-star in order to give one of the Spider-Men a chance to redeem himself after a rather tragic failure in his own franchise. Her mind wasn't full of notions of what might happen if the fall didn't go well. Instead, she noted how sick we looked, saying that she and Jacob were just having fun. See, Andrew, it's all okay now. It's alright, buddy. It's bad enough to hold the fate of one studio on your shoulders in a billion-dollar franchise, much less two. Sony and Disney's shared custody of Spider-Man means that a lot is riding on Tom Holland, not just for the MCU, but also for Sony's budding Sonyverse of other Spider-Man-related characters. But Tom Holland comes to the Spider-Man franchise already ready for some spider action, having played Billy Elliot in the stage adaptation and nailing his audition by doing a backflip that was already written in the script, although the producers did not expect it to happen. Holland's death-defying antics in his rig made the moneybags worried about their moneymaker as he threw himself into the action. But Holland kept in that peak dancer and gymnast shape as he swung into the streets with the help of some harnesses. During the end credits scene in Far From Home, there was an unforeseen complication. Tom was supposed to swing onto the top of the Queensboro Bridge while carrying Zendaya's MJ along. It's supposed to be a smooth landing with Holland walking away in one motion. The problem is, who landed first? Zendaya is taller than Holland, and as a result, her feet would come down first, causing Tom to become unbalanced, and she, the actress, would have had to catch her real-life boyfriend. They even built a slightly tilted replica of the Washington Monument for him to climb in Spider-Man Homecoming. And for No Way Home, one of the hardest scenes, according to Tom Holland, was actually landing on top of the Statue of Liberty's crown, since he tried to do the most Spider-Man-like pose on the most uneven of surfaces. It turns out that Holland's on- and off-screen partner Zendaya had a lot more to worry about. Talking to Sirius XM Radio, Holland admitted that the combination of the tight suit and the tight harness puts a squeeze on the body, and while they were filming the scenes where Spidey and MJ make a web-swinging break for it, Holland revealed, "I farted." However, Batalon had his back, confirming that the harness does squeeze tightly around the intestines. It turns out that when Captain America throws his mighty shield as often as it's allowed, Captain America actor Chris Evans was the one who was actually doing the swinging. In an interview with MTV, he remarked that since Captain America's powers were rooted in stuff people can do, just more so, it gave him the opportunity, when allowed, to put on the gloves and step into the ring. This means tons of practice, learning the choreography and the moves as if it were a dance. Not only did he have to learn the fight sequences, but he also did the heavier stunts, including dangling from a helicopter. Okay, it wasn't a real helicopter, but still he was dangling from it. In fact, during the helicopter scene in Civil War, Evans did actually injure himself, and it was none other than Robert Downey Jr., aka Iron Man, he was feuding with in the movie, who came to his aid. I guess RDJ loves him 3000 too. The amount of time that goes into performing these stunts deserves full praise, and it's clear how much Evans not only cared, but really enjoyed playing Cap. Speaking of RDJ, the one who started it all off with the breakaway hit Iron Man also isn't afraid to get in on some action. Though with him that also involves a flying suit of armor that shoots all manner of things. Robert Downey Jr. took Iron Man from B-list to A-list, as well as himself from fading Brat Pack star to a beloved superstar. Part of that charm is his gung-ho nature and willingness to jump right in. Quite literally. Iron Man 3 actor Guy Pearce told the story where not looking before he leapt went wrong, telling GQ Robert broke his ankle in the middle of that film because he had to do a stunt where he jumped from one platform down to another and be on a cable. They wanted to rehearse it and he said, "I don't need to rehearse it." He jumped and the guy holding the cable wasn't ready sort of, and he landed pretty hard and broke his ankle. So the film sort of shut down for about 5 or 6 weeks. Some of the best outfits in the MCU are some of the most impractical, and this is definitely the case for Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther. While his all-black kitty cat mask looked very fearsome, it left little room to see. When Boseman fought Andy Serkis's South African arms dealer, the lack of vision caused the once-and-future king to misjudge a kick. He ended up slamming his knee full force into Gollum's chest. This knocked the actor back and caused the wind to rush from his chest. Serkis described the feeling like his ribs were broken and that he couldn't stand back up. I guess that's the risk you gotta take when you show your face in the film instead of just wearing the mocap suit. Sometimes it hurts to confront your family, and it can even leave you a little dazed. This was the case for Chris Pratt in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The actor was knocked out when filming his aerial battle with Kurt Russell's stuntman, who looks more like Santa Claus, by the way. The actor was rigged up by various cables to simulate the various hits and blows that he takes in midair. At one point, he was supposed to be thrown into a padded wall, but the pole line was set a little too strong. He was thrown back full force and reportedly blacked out. Chris Pratt described seeing a bright flash and tasting smoke in his mouth. Yikes. It's the second worst thing to ever happen to the actor, the first being Movie 43. Before Shang-Chi actor Simu Liu landed his first role on the hit Canadian sitcom, Liu made his way into the movie business doing stunts. Not only that, but he also had an extensive martial arts background. Shang-Chi was really the role he was born to play. He wasn't going to waste that opportunity, taking every chance to be in the action, including the adrenaline-fueled bus fight. The scene took inspiration from several sources, from fighting styles to films, incorporating the fact that Shang-Chi is well-versed in multiple martial arts. Simu Liu even learned Tai Chi, Wushu, Muay Thai, Silat, Krav Maga, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, and street fighting. And this is not taking into account he's already familiar with Wing Chun, Taekwondo, and gymnastics. The director of Shang-Chi cited the graceful style from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and the lively and dynamic fights from Jackie Chan films. From Shang-Chi saying, "I don't want any trouble" before the trouble starts, and to use the environment around the characters for the fights themselves. Speaking of Jackie Chan, Brad Allen, the supervising stunt coordinator who unfortunately passed away, worked with other members of Jackie Chan's stunt team to make sure Shang-Chi's styles were consistent. The infamous bus fight had about 20 iterations and took about a year to complete, mainly because of COVID restrictions. 2 buses were actually used, one was 3 feet off the ground and could shake yet provided more stable fight and driving shots. The other was on a gimbal, a different type of support that could rotate, allowing for scenes such as when the bus goes all the way down that very steep drop. And when it comes to speed, the scene where Shang-Chi jumps out of the bus, runs along the top of it, and slams into the door was one of the hardest parts to shoot, since the speed of the brakeless bus driving down the road had to be replicated but ensured the safety of Shang-Chi's poor sneakers. The production crew used a treadmill so when Liu's feet touched the ground they slid and couldn't balance properly. While a stunt double had to climb the bus, Liu did the one-shot take of running into this close-up. This film does a great job of blending visual effects and practical effects. How much of this fight do you think was CGI? Oh, you know, the entire backdrop, but what about the bus crashing into these cars? Well, those cars are pretty expensive, and I wouldn't expect them to— nope, all practical. However, his dedication to that scene took its toll. Filming the part where he slides along the top and then smashes his way back inside, Liu noted, "The bumps and scrapes add up, and in my case resulted in my knees swelling up to the size of a tennis ball after this day. Still, they had to drag me off that bus. I wanted to go over and over again until it was perfect, and then some." The actors had to imagine using the rings in real life as they were added in post-production. But to be fair, who hasn't pretended to do a Kamehameha in real life anyways? Once Feige no longer had to answer to anyone else at Marvel when it came to the MCU, the world finally got the Black Widow solo movie we always wanted. Unfortunately, it came after we saw her sacrifice herself to save half the universe, but I mean, if you're gonna sacrifice yourself, go big or go home. That meant her solo movie became a family affair, reuniting her with deep cover Black Widow sister Yelena, played by Fighting With My Family star Florence Pugh, who graduated from pro wrestler all the way to international super assassin. She didn't just bring an addictive charm to her assassin character, but she joined Johanson in participating heavily in their own fight scenes. Director Kate Sortland noted that Pugh seeing Johanson doing a lot of her own stunt work motivated her to match it, noting that the actors did 90% of their own stunts. Now, the best stunt choreography is one that can both excite and tell a story, and fight choreographer Rob Inch designed the sequence where Yelena and Natasha fight each other to do just that. He wanted to evoke a childhood fight scene between two siblings, with both ending up on the floor. The use of the curtain rod is intended to further ground the fight. There was even an accident that ended up in the movie. Inch explained, when the door accidentally went through the frame and through the glass, we were like, oh, that looks so bad, we've got to use it. It sounds like a fun crowd. The sequence ended up being Inch's favorite in the film. He was happy about how brutal and how real it ended up being. The other widows also got in on the action, but they had their own stunt doubles. We have known how awesome Zoe Saldana is for some time. From Avatar to Star Trek, she has some badass characters under her belt. And that is no different from her role in Guardians of the Galaxy as the green-skinned Gamora. From the get-go, she said she wanted to do her own stunts, and got into incredible shape as she began to learn the new fight choreography. While she might have fight sequences down like Chris Evans, she's also not afraid of the acrobatic stunts like Tom Holland. On a video posted to her Instagram page, she shared a behind-the-scenes stunt of her doing an impressive cartwheel during fight choreography. She is also not afraid of dangling from wires, as behind-the-scenes footage shows from the second Guardians of the Galaxy film. It's safe to say that she is a woman of many talents. It's hard to believe that the original X-Men came out more than 20 years ago. While superhero movies have changed a lot since then, and there have been many changes even in the X-Men franchise, there is still one constant: Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Yes, the charming Australian has been Wolverine for 2 decades, and it's hard to imagine anyone else being it. Part of that is the amazing shape he's gotten in, feeding off a diet of chicken, broccoli, and working out constantly. Jackman's body size changes dramatically from the first X-Men film to Wolverine Origins. But he didn't just look the part, he lived the part. While he did have a stunt double for riskier scenes, Jackman believed that it would add realism if he performed the stunts himself. In behind-the-scenes action, you can see Jackman in the thick of it, whether that be flying through the air on strings or his insane running for Logan. He gave his all for the role, but that did come at a cost. When filming the Wolverine, Jackman nearly broke his back in an accident on set. It sure is a shame his spine isn't really made out of adamantium. Like Scarlett Johansson, a stunt double usually does the high-octane moves for Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes. But again, there were times where he wanted to live up to the part of the Winter Soldier. Stan was credited by stunt coordinator Thomas Robinson Harper for his role as Winter Soldier, classing him as a humble and down-to-earth guy. He continued to say that Stan would always show up for fight rehearsals like a sponge, soaking in the new routines and learning his moves, always trying to improve himself. Harper labeled his end result as amazing, and you could really see the hard work with his hand-to-hand combat scenes, with Captain America looking very authentic and super heart-pounding. Hayley Atwell has captivated Marvel fans ever since her first appearance in The First Avenger, with her romantic plotline with Captain America forever tugging on our heartstrings. Her popularity was so huge that her character, Peggy Carter, even got her own spin-off show, following her double life as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. The show has plenty of espionage and action, with Carter pursuing and fighting a number of villains. And it turns out Atwell herself performed a big chunk of these sequences, even if the more adept sequences were left to the stunt double. While she may not have as much training as some of the other stars in this video, Atwell gave it her all and seemed to have a great amount of fun shooting those scenes. Although her stunt crew might not have had as much fun, with Atwell admitting in an interview that she had hurt a few stuntmen during filming. Oops. When you have a stunt person as capable as Heidi Moneymaker, you really want to make the most out of it. That includes throwing in her equally accomplished sister Renee, as well as having her work with the newest Avenger added to the roster, Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop actor Hallie Steinfeld praised Moneymaker for not only preparing her for the hard work of being the Avengers' new Archer, but also how Moneymaker was able to give her confidence to do extremely difficult fight scenes. When you're playing a superhero, it's not enough just to do incredible physics-defying stunts, you also have to look cool doing it. Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda Maximoff, otherwise known as the Scarlet Witch, was the Avengers' best-kept secret when it came to overwhelming power. The Little Lost Girl was used both by Hydra and a killer android before Barton did what Barton does best: motivating people to become heroes they're meant to be. When he told her she could walk through the door as an Avenger, she's become something of a wild card, mostly because nobody really has a grasp on what she can and cannot do. The advantage of her power is that it's less punchy kicky power and more of just a finger wiggly power. Even so, Olson shared some behind the scenes difficulty just doing that. As she descended down to make sure Thanos knew who she was, she noted that she can't look down where she's walking. She had to look menacing at the purple meanie that she was about to scare enough that he would rain fire down on his own people. Unfortunately, not looking where you're stepping on uneven terrain meant that she would end up on her keister in a few takes. That's right, I said keister. She also noted that she wasn't necessarily able to stick the landing for when the women Avengers came together to give Captain Marvel some cover, noting that when she landed, she would end up falling and hitting her head on other stunt women. Not all of the Avengers actors come to the franchise with action movie backgrounds. Marvel's Captain Marvel actor Brie Larson was best known for her role in The Room. The film shelved her many awards, including an Oscar, but it was not an action-heavy movie. When she showed up to take on the role of Carol Danvers, she kinda just assumed that the stunts were part of it. Brie Larson wanted to give it her all, and she went above and beyond how much training other actors had done before her. She said, "It wasn't until we started filming and I started doing crazy stunts that people were like, oh, by the way, no one does this. No one really told me that this was the case. They were like, oh, I don't know why she's doing this, but it's cool, so whatever, just let her do it." When she won the MTV Movie Award for Best Fight, however, she made a point of bringing her stunt doubles Joanna Bennet and Renee Moneymaker on stage to accept the award with her. You may remember her as a Disney princess or an ER doctor, but it was Ming Na Wen's role in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that really made her stand out. Playing fan favorite Melinda May, Wen is an absolute badass with some truly memorable fight and action sequences. But what you might not know is that she does all of her own stunts. She stated that she would often train with her stunt and fight coordinators to get the action sequence to look as awesome as possible. Safe to say she is doing one hell of a job. Her self-proclaimed craziest stunt came in an episode where she had to fight herself. During filming, she was going through the moves with her stunt double, but due to tiredness, missed a beat, with her stunt double clocking her rather too hard in the face and chipping her teeth. Now that's gotta hurt. Ming Na Wen isn't the only person to transform into a badass on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but instead of transforming from a Disney princess, Chloe Bennet transformed from a pop star into a butt-kicking hero. Also like Ming Na Wen, Bennet did her own stunts and fight choreography, as she put herself through rigorous stunt training to get ready for the part as Daisy, aka Quake. Bennet also put herself through 2 months of kickboxing, Krav Maga, and Jiu-Jitsu to make her performance as Daisy as realistic as possible. And she definitely didn't put that training to waste. Bennet loves the action so much, she said in an interview that it was so much fun and that she hates it when they have to put a stunt double in. And one time, Bennet seemed to have too much fun. In a scene in season 4 where she chases Ghost Rider and has to get on top of a car, she loved it so much that she could not get off from giggling. At least she's doing what she loves. Whew, that is a lot of sweaty production insurance reps. What might be more remarkable than the stars stepping up to do the stunts are the final result of the amazing stunts themselves. Anyways, let us know what you think down in the comments and like and subscribe for more of us here at Screen Rant. Have a good one.